Hey guys, welcome back to Adlib Talk, and this is my review for Netflix's latest action adventure movie, The Grey Man. But before we start with this review, as always, don't forget to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed, and please do consider subscribing. So The Grey Man is an action thriller directed by the Russo Brothers, famous for directing 4 of the very important Marvel films, including Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War. Joe Russo wrote the screenplay together with Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely, based on the 2009 novel of the same name, written by Mark Greaney. The movie starts off by giving us an introduction to Sierra 6, our main protagonist, who is a convicted murderer in prison who is offered his freedom by CIA official Donald Fitzroy in return for working as an assassin for the CIA in a role called, obviously, The Grey Man. 18 years pass and we see Sierra 6 on another mission, this time to kill a target who is apparently selling important national security secrets. Now, Sierra 6 is forced to attack the target from close range, and after taking him out, his target, before dying, tells him that he himself had worked for the Sierra project as Sierra 4 and hands 6 this encrypted drive with information on a corrupt CIA official named Denny Carmichael, the same man who had ordered the assassination of Sierra 4. This then leads to a cat and mouse chase, with Carmichael attempting to take out Sierra 6 and 6 attempting to avoid the assassination attempts on his life and trying to expose Carmichael and also protect his loved ones. So, as you might be thinking, the plot for The Grey Man is one we have seen again and again in these kinds of movies, in numerous CIA spy kind of movies, and indeed calling the story cliched would be rather kind, to be honest. It's predictable as hell, and there is a severe lack of freshness in the storytelling and in the plot twists. You will see everything coming from a mile away because it's predictable as hell. We've got our incredibly talented spy Sierra 6, who is also super smart, reminding me quite a bit of Jason Bourne. He reads situations perfectly and is able to take out anyone who gets in his way. However, what I do like here, and I mention this in pretty much every action movie I review, is the globe-trotting element of the whole thing. I love it when these kinds of movies have our protagonist or protagonists traveling all around the world in fascinating different locations. And this is a strong point for this movie. The Grey Man has a number of incredible set pieces set all around the world with these high-octane, massive-scale action scenes. The very first action sequence in Bangkok is one that is visually spectacular and truly stunning to watch. And it's a great way to set the pace for this whole movie, because this is a movie which is very, very fast-paced. I think more or less the action works here. Unfortunately, some of these set pieces were just a tad too crazy, too ridiculous, in my opinion, and that's where sometimes my suspension of disbelief started to be lost. The airplane scene, for example, was far too ridiculous in my opinion, and unfortunately also had some pretty poor CGI to boot. On the other hand, for example, a very good action sequence was the one in Vienna, the shootout, which was spectacular and really did impress me in just how brutal and fast-paced the whole thing was, despite it also being quite ridiculous. I mean, the whole situation was just unbelievable, but it was also impressively shot. Indeed, pretty much the whole film is beautifully shot, and this is definitely no surprise given the talent behind the screen. I mean, we've got the Russo brothers directing the movie, and the cinematography is done by the very talented Stephen Winden. These are masters of action, and it really shows throughout the whole movie. Where the movie does struggle a little bit is, I must admit, in creating an emotional link with its characters. For example, with regard to Sierra 6, we have this super cliched plot point involving him and Fitzroy's niece, who also has this medical condition. This is rather weak and feels quite forced. I could tell the Russos really did not care about any of this. They're just looking forward to see which next big historical European city center they could blow up next. And that brings me to the performances in this movie, which I must say, overall, were quite decent, but not as good as I expected. We really do have a star-studded cast here, with actors of the caliber of Ryan Gosling, Chris Evans, Armas, Jessica Henwick. We've got Regé Jean Page, I can never pronounce Bridgerton guy's name, Wagner Moura, Julia Butters, Danush, Alfred Woodard, and Billy Bob Thornton. Gosling and Evans take up most of the time on screen, and I must say that their performance was a complete contrast of each other. On the one hand, we've got the mustache twirling Chris Evans, who does overdo it at times in his performance, and it does feel like he's trying to kind of be the opposite of Captain America with just how purely evil his character is. But I would be lying if I didn't say that I just had an absolute blast watching his performance, watching him as this psychopathic murderer who apparently has more kills than the entire Mossad. Now, Evans definitely had a blast in this role, and I am looking forward to seeing more variety in his roles. Opposite him is Gosling, who gives a more low-key performance as Sierra 6. He is a killer and a talented one at that, capable of taking out dozens of agents at once. However, obviously, he also has a conscience. The role does not offer Gosling much, and naturally he is overshadowed by Evans' performance. He definitely deserved a character with a lot more depth. Finally, I thought that Ana de Armas was also quite disappointing after having seen her great performance in No Time to Die. I had high hopes for her in this role, but unfortunately, like Gosling, she is given a role which offers her little or no opportunity to showcase her skills, and thus she is just there. Now, it's important to mention here that our three main actors do a great job when it comes to the action. It shows that all three of them have had a lot of experience in these kinds of movies. Now, The Grey Man is not a memorable movie. It's not a movie that will be talked about after the end of this week. And when you consider Netflix have spent over $200 million, you might be wondering why so much money was spent on it. Action is great to see, and Gosling and Evans work off each other well, but considering the massive money problems that Netflix apparently have had recently, I wonder if they will be producing more of these kinds of movies in the future. Now, with regard to the quality of the movie, The Grey Man, in my opinion, is not a bad movie. Yes, the writing and the emotional beats are rather weak and forced, and the story is quite cliched and predictable, but Evans is a blast to watch on screen. Like I've mentioned already, the action is just so good. And considering all of this, my rating for The Grey Man is a 3 out of 5. And my recommendation, if you're looking for a decent action movie with little need to use your brain to watch the whole 2-hour runtime of this movie. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that review, and if you did, as always, don't forget to leave a like on this video, and please do consider subscribing. Cheers, and I'll see you guys next time right here on Adlib Talk.